Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanzi, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show, but before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want today's full show before it comes out on YouTube, streaming for free on the DREAMERSPRO podcast. We have pinned below. Let me get into this topic here. Now, this is a very, very interesting topic. Why? Because yesterday, JJ Redick was on the Dan Le Batard show. Right. If you guys know, Dan Le Batard is one of the biggest, Dan Le Batard show, whatever, one of the biggest podcasts, sports podcasts out there. I believe they have a $50 million deal. They signed a $50 million deal. I believe it was with DraftKings. Right. So they're a pretty big deal. Right. And once in a while, they bring on guests to discuss a range of things. I think before that they had Steven Jackson on there, but recently they had JJ Redick. Now, JJ Redick, as you guys know, has his own show, The Old Man and the Three. He's also on ESPN. He also calls games, and now he just launched a new podcast with himself and NBA superstar LeBron James called Mind the Game with LeBron James and JJ Redick. So they were on there discussing various things, but then it got to the point where Dan Le Batard and his crew essentially asked JJ Redick to kind of take us behind the curtains to give us the rationale. What caused you guys, him and his guys, I'm referring to him and LeBron, to decide to do something like this, right? Because I'm sure these people are busy. They could do other things. And while he was explaining his answer, he then went on to say that it was actually inspired by some of the work that Kobe Bryant did before he passed. And he felt like there was a void after Kobe passed in terms of having a basketball genius talk about basketball, explain sports. And he felt like there was a void that needed to be filled. And therefore, he thought it would be a perfect idea to have a LeBron James, who's one of the Pantheon players, to talk about basketball and kind of give fans a behind the scenes look into what it is, you know, into the mind of a basketball genius. But before we even get into his comments and his explanation, this video is brought to you by a sponsor, PrizePicks. PrizePicks is really simple. Instead of just selecting a team, you just select two or more players, pick more or less their projected stats, and then you place your entry. For example, this week, I'm selecting two entries. Stephen Curry for more than 25 points, and then I got Anthony Davis for more than 2 blocks, and Damian Lillard for more than 4 3-pointers made. PrizePicks is also the only daily sports platform with an injury insurance policy. So for example, if you have a player who gets injured in the first half and doesn't return to the second half, that player gets automatically rebooted. What I also love about PrizePicks is that it offers weekly promotions like Taco Tuesdays. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. That's go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, use code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. And once again, once you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do is we want to play exactly what JJ Redick had to say. We want you guys to listen to it in its entirety, and then we're going to come back and really get into the meat and potatoes of this show here. Take a listen to what JJ Redick had to say here.
I've always had a deep appreciation for LeBron and the mental side of his game. And obviously I competed against him. You know, I didn't play a lot in 2009 in the conference finals, but, you know, I'm sitting there on the bench watching what he's able to do. 38 points a game, 8 rebounds, 8 assists with 0 spacing. And I'm like, that he's different. He's different. In the same way that I watched Kobe Bryant, he was different, you know, and I've had Luka's the same way. Jokic is the same way. James Harden is the same. Like, these guys think the game and they court map the game at a different level. And there are certain coaches now that I get to interview before games that, yeah, you ask them a couple questions and you're like, okay, these guys think about this differently. And there's a lot of joy that I get out of that. And it's an incredible opportunity. I don't look at it as like an opportunity for me. This is an opportunity for any basketball fan to listen to one of the greatest players ever talk about the game of basketball. We saw that for a few years with Kobe. and God rest his soul, I think him being gone, there's a void there. Like, how many of the all-time greats are talking about the game? I don't know if there's anybody. I just don't know. And so it's an opportunity for fans to get an inside glimpse at how the game works, the why. I never forget when I first signed up to do ESPN, somebody asked me, what do you hope to do? And I didn't know what the landscape was. I truthfully did not know First Take was a debate show. I'm being honest with you. I did not know that. And I was like, I want to help explain the why. Like, I want to help explain the why. Why are you putting 2 on the ball against Steph Curry? Why is Draymond catching the ball with no one in the middle of the court, and he's got a 4-on-3? Why are they back cutting out of the corner and Draymond's hitting Iguodala or Andrew Wiggins on a lob pass for a dunk? Why is that happening? It's a great pass. It's a great cut. It's a great finish. It's beautiful to watch. But why? And that's essentially what this show is. There's a level of why things happen the way they do.
So you heard what JJ had to say. You heard his explanation. What are my thoughts about this? Well, I have a few. First of all, after Kobe retired, Kobe said that he wanted to be a storyteller as well as an investor, and he turned out to be a very, very astute investor. He invested in this sports drink company, ended up making him hundreds of millions of dollars, and his net worth ballooned to $600 million. I believe if Kobe was alive, he'd be a billionaire by now, because Kobe was smart, like smart as a whip. He was very, very smart. But in terms of that, he was also a storyteller, and Kobe felt like there was a real problem that was taking place in terms of the way athletes were being reared through the AAU system, and he felt like something needed to be done. So what did he do? He started the Mamba Basketball Academy, which I think is something that his late daughter was a part of. And of course, you had NBA players that would also go take part of it, participate in his clinics. Players like Paul George, Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard, I think DeMar DeRozan, a few other players right now that I really can't remember, but I remember seeing some footage of this. So that's the first part. Then Kobe started to do a series on ESPN called Detail. And Detail was essentially Kobe taking a particular player. For example, we used Kevin Durant, who he used, although he did little pieces on Scottie Pippen in terms of it being a great defender, but Kevin Durant. And he would basically dissect a player's game by going through film. Right. And he was basically teaching you how to study film, including Kevin Durant, because he did it in a way where it would be didactic for Kevin Durant to look at it and look for other ways to enhance his basketball game. In the case of KD, he was talking about taking his game to another level with his ability to pass and beat teams with passing the ball. Right. And if you listen to Kobe Bryant, and then he did these really cool one-off specials where he did Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard, these cool like kind of story. I don't know how to describe this, mini movies with this voice and explaining. I mean, it was really, really excellent work. So Kobe was already getting into the educational field in terms of basketball. And when you listen to Kobe, I think one of the reasons why he was able to resonate with so many people is that, number one, Kobe was very, very smart, number one. Number two, he was very, very articulate. You could tell he was very well read. Kobe didn't go to college, but if you listen to him speak, you would never know. Based on the simple fact that he could read a lot of books. Kobe read a lot of books. You could tell he was very well read, and that's how he was able to enhance his vocabulary and really communicate his ideas effectively, which made him the proper candidate to do something like that, right? Which is teach basketball. So I think that JJ Redick, they weren't reinventing the wheel with LeBron here. They were not doing that. It had already been done. Instead, I believe that JJ and these guys felt like that needed to be continued. There needed to be a continuation of the work that Kobe was doing, hence Mind the Game. And to be fair, Mind the Game, essentially is basically a TED Talks about basketball. They really get into the nitty gritty. They get into some of the jargon, the basketball jargon, in terms of some of the words that they use, even like the nail and all of these different things, which is a bit, I think things like that are really useful for younger NBA, younger basketball players to really learn the game and think the game. Whereas fans, it can be like a fan like myself, I can listen to it and say, okay, I didn't know that. When a game is taking place live in real time, obviously you won't know that, especially if you're watching the game on TV. You don't know what they're calling. Only after the play is developed, then you'll be able to figure out, unless sometimes you can see a play materialize and then you can say, okay, I can see what they're running right here. But obviously you don't know the audibles that these teams are calling. You don't know what next plays are going to be running because you don't have their playbook. So how the hell would you know? But I like the honesty that JJ Redick put forward there. But Kobe was doing this, right? And I think that the way LeBron and JJ are doing it is also good because it's conversational. They're trying to make it approachable, although some of the terms that they use, it's only basketball players that would know this. But again, they have the definitions there. They explain it to you. So I like what JJ Redick had to say. I also acknowledged it. I like the fact that he acknowledged the fact that Kobe had already been doing this, and he didn't come up with the standpoint of, we're doing something that has never been done before, because that would have been unjust. So these are my thoughts about it. What I want to know from you guys, what do you think about what JJ Redick had to say? What do you think about today's analysis? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.